nothing quite beats the glamour of motorsport. The blood, sweat, tears, and toil between man and machine, the risk, the danger, the artistry of inch-perfect driving, the despair of a defeat, or the sweet taste of victory. If manufacturers want to sell cars, motorsport is one of the best ways to do it. But it's not for everyone. Some manufacturers simply can't justify the high capital required to race. Others are far too highbrow to get their hands dirty racing. And there are those, of course, who don't build anything with even a hint of sporting pedigree. This makes all the manufacturers on this list minor miracles themselves. Before we get into them though, please don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything going on here at Goodwood Road and Racing. Once the USA's answer to Rolls-Royce and Bentley, Duesenberg's sales were linked at the hip to the luxury it offered to discerning customers. But thick leather and polished metals hid genuine innovation. Duesenberg's first model went on sale in the 1920s, featuring double overhead cams and 4-valve cylinder heads. It was also the first car to feature hydraulic brakes on all 4 wheels. It's not surprising to learn then that Duesenberg was the first American company to win a Grand Prix, when it took the checkered flag at the French Grand Prix in 1921. Proton is not a company you'd immediately associate with glamour or motorsport. The Malaysian brand is better known for producing basic machines for buyers on a budget, but so successful was it that eventually it brought British sports car firm Lotus. From there, it set about making the best use of its newly acquired knowledge, leaning on Lotus's experience in motorsport to, among other things, compete in the Asia Pacific Rally with the Satria Neo S2000 rally car. Lotus also had a hand in the earlier Satria GTI, a hot hatch that, with a little bit of help from Hethel, handled like an absolute dream, humbling machines from far more prestigious manufacturers on the racetrack. To members of this parish, Bentley's racing success will come as no surprise. But an outsider looking in might struggle to see the point in stripping out your luxurious horseless carriage for a thrash around many of the world's most illustrious racetracks. Ettore Bugatti agreed, describing the Bentley's 3-litre series as the fastest lorry in the world. But however unlikely the Bentleys looked lined up next to the delicate form of a 1300cc Bugatti, they had what it took to win races. Bentley scooped 5 Le Mans victories between 1924 and 1930, proving that the company's truck-like build quality was, if anything, an advantage in endurance racing. The marque made a triumphant return to the Circuit de la Sarthe at the turn of the century too, reclaiming the crown with the brilliant Speed 8 in 2003. It followed that up with a fully fledged and successful GT3 effort with the Continental GT, further confirming Bentley's inherent racing pedigree. Constructed from titanium-reinforced carbon fibre and powered by tuned Mercedes V12 engines, out-of-the-box Pagani supercars have almost everything you need to go racing. But at their core, they're more like works of art than racing cars, with beautiful interiors and engine bays like an engineer's jewellery box. You'd have to be brave and very rich to put such a highly strung machine through the rigours of motorsport. Even Horacio Pagani himself hasn't been overly keen, but Pagani has had one notable outing at Le Mans in 2003, albeit a campaign that ended 10 laps in due to gearbox failure. Sadly, that disappointment was enough to convince the powers that be that motorsport wasn't the dream for Pagani, and the brand hasn't returned to a racetrack ever since. Lada, one of Russia's most famous contributions to the motoring landscape, is more likely to be associated with the punchline of a 1990s stand-up comedian than it is to be linked with any form of motorsport. But a link there is, and we've found it. Based on the Lada Riva, itself essentially a Fiat 124 stripped of its double overhead cam engine, the Lada VFTS was a Group B rally car with a turbocharged 1.6-litre 4-cylinder engine mounted in the middle, producing up to 300 horsepower. Sadly, the outlawing of Group B extinguished any hope of the VFTS achieving international acclaim, but it was a popular entrant in Russia's Club Rally series. It seems almost impossible that a Rolls-Royce would ever have sullied its reputation with a meaningless escapade like motorsport, and yet its cars were indeed once used in competition. Faced with giving 1981's Paris-Dakar Rally a bash in style, Frenchman Thierry de Montcourget decided to do it in a Rolls-Royce Corniche. In truth, there wasn't much Rolls-Royce to Montcourget's Corniche. It ran on Toyota Land Cruiser underpinnings, a rugged Chevy small block engine, and fiberglass body panels. Nevertheless, the image of a jacked-up Corniche on knobblies was iconic, enough for Rolls-Royce to feature the car at the launch of its Cullinan SUV. On the other side of the coin, we have Caterham, a manufacturer most people would expect to go racing. The Caterham 7 is, after all, basically a racing car for the road. It even has its own one-make championship. The oddity here isn't the manufacturer or the cars it builds, but the fact that it decided to race in Formula 1, a billion-pound sport perhaps not ideally suited to a motoring minnow like Caterham. The results were foreseeable. Caterham still holds the record for the most F1 starts, 56, without scoring a single point, and at one stage the company kept itself afloat using crowdfunding, a first for F1. Team owner Tony Fernandez would eventually sell up in 2014, summing up the firm's experience with the tweet, "F1 hasn't worked, but love Caterham cars. We do, Tony. We do." Have we saved the best until last? We think so. Volvo is another one of those manufacturers with a reputation at odds with a presence in motorsport. It's famous for building bulletproof battle axes that prioritise space, comfort, and safety far above any need to perform in a sporting context. So, when Volvo made its 1994 debut in the British Touring Car Championship, it did things its way, and in our opinion, the very best way, by entering a pair of 850 estates to compete in a field full of saloon cars. Some say this was because the estate had marginally better aerodynamics. Others say that Volvo happened to have more estates lying around when it decided to go racing. Marketing is likely the actual reason, because racing with the only estate car in the field was a huge headline generator, a theory proven by the fact that we're still talking about it today. Anything we've missed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And again, don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything going on here at Goodwood Road and Racing.